I wanted to use these few seconds to do something that we usually do in occasion like this. Let's talk a little bit about what we might describe as a problem. What maybe the economists or people in the business might regard as opportunity. Because anytime you see a problem, that is an opportunity. Anytime you see maybe people don't have enough of what they're supposed to have, that is opportunity, because as an entrepreneur or somebody in business, you are providing solution. Because if everything is already solved, then you are not supposed to be in business, because you shouldn't be solving a problem that is not there. But in this case now, we see that in Africa, we do need to be able to have a better agricultural practices so that we can first of all feed our people and then leverage that agriculture as a form of business. So let's say, so I'm asking you, I just sort of putting the question out to the people like that. What do you see as the opportunity for agricultural practices in Africa? Because Dr. Ikechi does have something really interesting, which is the brain reengineering. And the brain reengineering, of course, is his approach of resolving agricultural problems, which of course can also be useful in many other areas. So what is this opportunity that is available for African people or African agricultural practices? Please, if you have something, just raise your hand at top. We don't have much time to waste.
I'm just going to say a lot of kudos to all the speakers. I've been trying to jot non-stop, listening to, I don't want to take too much time. I just want to go to the vein of the crops. Everybody has ideas and have wonderful, sorry, my camera's a little bit off skew. All right. I've come up with wonderful ideas and unique solutions. The brain engineering part, I would like to hear from my brother personally when we have time to talk. We have not talked in a while though. Oh man, you've gone out of the moon. You're probably somewhere close to Jupiter now, or probably close to the ninth planet we're still trying to find. Now, what I want to say is my brother, I call him my brother, but he's more like my all in all. He got crowned king of a source of land. And then he told me that whatever we want to do, yeah, Ikechi, stick. Yeah. And I had not been talking to him for like ages too. And immediately we started talking. You go back to me. And this is so, and all this is so, it's like, it's monumental, you know, what you've done. I don't want to praise you too much so that you don't choke yourself with your tie. Yeah, but it's really, really cool. What I find most interesting is all the collective idea and the much we can do, especially with technology. Don't worry about it. We'll talk later. What we can do collectively, especially with the brain power we have, you know, in display here. You know, I can even hear the young man. His name is David. He made me cry for. Is it no? Sorry, not David. What was this? David, yeah. Was it? No, August. Yeah,
Augustine.
Is he trying to? Yeah, I got emotional.
Yes.
Because I had. I had a young man speak. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lama.
From Rwanda. And I love that place because it is really one of the first technological hubs in Africa. You know? I don't want to go into the politics of what goes where we are, but you see there's a positive trend. And we can take examples from a place like Rwanda and apply such, such knowledge as you're talking about brain re-engineering. You know, I always like to apply science to everything I do. E equals MC squared. You just have to apply what you already have into solutions. And I think that's the bane and the crops of re-engineering once thought into how they apply themselves into what we are faced today. I think the problem that actually delays us in Africa is leadership issues. And then Dr. Ikechi has taken a leadership position position already. I'll be voting for you for president when it's your turn. I cede.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you, Robbie. We appreciate you. What you were saying is really very important. So thank you so much for that sharing. I really appreciate that. All right, so let me move to Charles Rose. Please go ahead and share with us in relation to the brain reengineering and what you see as opportunity in African agriculture. Please go ahead.
Right, I've been working with Ikechi actually recently over the last year, I guess now, closely to integrate a controlled environment to high value crop cultivation, to look at social and economic growth perspectives in Africa, which supports wholly, looking at the value chain, looking at waste management systems, looking at standalone green energy processes. And, with Ikechi behind this in the agricultural sector, we're really driving it forward. And we've been integrating with Malaysia very, very closely to actually bring crop cultivation and century and ancient old techniques into Africa to support Africa and Rwanda to become prospective market players on the international market through high value crop cultivation and specifically vanilla, because it is a very sought after product and it's got high value, especially on the European market, which we're talking about Ikechi, but what we have is that my import business actually supports the local farmers by 50% of the sale of receipt price goes back to the farming communities. So that, in my eyes, is fair trade, because 50% of the European sale then is supporting the growth and economic growth of local communities. And it's so important. And working with Ikechi, like I said, it's a blessing, because his knowledge is just, well, there's not a word I can say about the agricultural sector that Ikechi does not understand, from the base rate. And it is such a great honor to be able to be working to implement this, not only in Malaysia, but into Africa. And I have the great honor of being a keynote speaker in the Kigali conference next month. So I'm very honored to be speaking about the process and alongside Ikechi. It is just a phenomenal honor, and to wish him well. He's an amazing guy, and I have massive amounts of respect, and I can see the future with Ikechi in this world is a bright place, and it's a blessed place. We are blessed to have such a phenomenal man supporting not only just the local communities, but internationally on the UN and across Germany. We want to integrate the learning program for the brain re-engineering into Germany, into North Germany, because it's a very agriculturally driven industry here. So with Ikechi behind this, it's going to succeed. So I'm blessed. And I think everybody here is blessed to have you, Ikechi. So congratulations, buddy. Keep it up.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you. We appreciate that. So we are looking at the opportunity in African agriculture so that we'll be able to feed ourselves and then export to the rest of the world, of course, because agriculture is a mainstay of any economy. And of course, all the industry, because agriculture is not just about food now. From agriculture, we can talk about the dress that we wear. We can talk about even the tree that we use to build our infrastructure. So agriculture is actually the mainstay of any economy, irrespective of how developed the economy might be. So we are looking at that stage. We are looking at that possibility where we can also use high tech in our agricultural area. I remember, for example, I was interviewing a woman. This was in Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken. So while I was talking to her, she was in the farm. That was where we did the interview. They have fridge inside the farm. They killed goat. The goat was stuck into a fridge in the farm. So we are talking of those kind of agriculture, because if you teach this kind of agriculture to children in Nigeria, they're going to love it. But if you are telling them about the type of agriculture that was practiced by our fathers, I grew up in Nigeria. I grew up in the south of Nigeria, in Assam. Our type of agriculture is not going to encourage me to go into farming. Because then I remember I didn't wear anything on my leg. I have to go inside. That is what we call a Evon. Evon is a type of plant. When it's growing out, it have a pointed mouth like this. If you put your legs on it, it will pierce you through. So when I talk about agriculture, when I think of it, I get those images because that is how it happens to me. So this is not the type of agriculture that I want us to preach to our children. If you tell that one to my son, he will tell you no, no, and no. He's not interested. But if we tell them that that is a type of agriculture that they can do, they will live in a farm, they will enjoy it, they will ride their car, they will produce things that is not good. They don't need to carry on their head. They can carry it with, it is possible. It is possible.
Greetings again. I am just taking the opportunity to cement once more that for us, I'm not in Africa, so I cannot necessarily speak to Africa, but what I can say is, based on what we experience in the Caribbean in terms of agriculture, I can see in terms of when I look and research Africa, it is very, very similar, the conditions and the situations that we're facing. And so for me, in talking to Dr. Ikechi, I recognize the brain re-engineering aspect of it is very, very critical. The agro-processing side, the value-added side of it is very, very critical. If we don't at least focus on these two areas, Africa and the Caribbean is not necessarily saying anything in terms of agriculture. So we need to, for me, I think even at the preschool level, we need to start to make agriculture mandatory in the schools. In the Caribbean, in the school system that we have, agriculture, when you get to the secondary school, agriculture, you do it at the first and the second form level, but then when you get to and fifth form, which is 9, 8, 9, 10, and 11th grade, you are given an option. So it is put against another subject, whereas there are subjects that they deem compulsory, like history is compulsory, math is compulsory, English is compulsory. I think in territories such as Africa and the Caribbean, agriculture also should be a compulsory subject that all students do up to at least even college level, so that they can begin to see that this is something that is important, and we not just focus and see it as my brethren, they were saying that it's all, see the all hard work side of it, the dirty side, and, thinking of, slavery sentimentality and all of that. We need to have that brain re-engineering to start to see it as a business, start to see the science of it, because sometimes we focus on the agriculture, but not necessarily the science. That's why it's, as a subject, it's called agricultural science. And so we have to embrace the scientific approach, embrace the technological approach, with limitations, because, as we speak, agriculture is really, really critical, especially in terms of food security. I recently saw a news item where they are modifying rice now and adding even meat to rice. So you're soon not going to have regular, normal rice. They're adding the genes of beef and chicken and fish and all these kind of things to rice, and saying, okay, you could actually eat rice as a single meal because you will have all of the nutrients in it and all that. Then you have the case where they're making lab meats. They're creating the meats in the lab. So they're saying, okay, you don't have to kill the animals, we can just take some, and all of these. So we have to, as we, think of agriculture in the future, we really have to look at all of these issues as we move forward. And I think Dr. Ikechi is really doing some vital work, and we do need to make this global connection. So I think this opportunity here in this forum, we probably can use this as a catalyst. The group that's here, we probably seek to try to stay in touch, and with the different areas that we are in, we can see how we could, as a group, make a lot of these things a reality. The other thing that I would say before I close off here is we need to also get those who are in the position to finance, because a lot of these ideas needs finance. And I find that in our society, we have folks who have the money, but they will tell you, oh, agriculture it's too risky to involve in agriculture. However, these same people who say that it's risky to involve in agriculture would line up with millions and billions to invest in going to Mars or going to the moon, or invest in weapons of mass destruction. These are risky businesses as well, but they would not invest in those. So I'm saying we need to find ways of getting these people who do speak well when it comes time to talk about food security and climate change. They do have some very eloquent speeches, but we need to get them also now to put their monies where their mouths are. We don't want to hear the eloquent speeches. We want to hear investments in these new agro technologies and this brain engineering program that Dr. Ikechi is pushing forward. This is what we would need to see.
Thank you so much for that. That is highly valuable. I really appreciate you for that. And of course, we will ask Dr. Ikechi to spend maybe some few seconds on even the idea that we're talking about here, which is the brain reengineering program. Then, of course, after that, Dr. Ikechi, you could please introduce more people to talk. I believe that some persons have come in. Then, after that, we have some people that have raised their hands so that they can also contribute to the conversation, because I think it's beginning to get even more interesting now. Please go ahead, Dr. Ikechi.
Thank you very much, Obehi, for your mature moderation and for all the attendees who are here. I will pray specially for you that the blessings of the Lord will not depart from your house, because this also is my month of birthday, So can I welcome Addis? I saw Addis' husband beside her, and I was like, this is 2 a.m. in Malaysia, and they are awake, for me, and they are special people to me. Adele is my cousin, and her husband. Do you want to say something? You can unmute and say something fast. And I saw Emmanuel Ruamba all the way from Burkina Faso. Emmanuel, is he still there? Okay, maybe he's having network issues. So I think Dr. Corey has raised his hand as well. Can you speak? Okay, sorry. Before I call, before Dr. Corey takes over, yeah, about brain reengineering. Brain reengineering has come to be. Brain reengineering, it was, is a strategy that I had received in my early years when I was growing up as a child. And growing up in a university environment, what it looks like or how it looks like when your classmates, Chukwuka, that spoke earlier, we attended the same secondary school. So he will tell that story better, because for you to put in agriculture to study is very weird, is awkward. Let me use that word, very awkward, because why will you go into agriculture to study? Because most people are given punishments to go and weed the farm. So why go and stay in a profession that will punish you till life? So that's the mindset thing. So, and that's that started, to inspire me even while I was, I am still teaching at the River State University. And I refused to carry notes to class. Young people, they don't like to see papers, these papers that we carry to class. We carry booklets to class. They want to see action. They want to see gadgets. They want to see a scientific and technologically driven agriculture. And that's where we are. So that spurred me to begin to put 1 and 2 together. I saw the dots and I decided to connect the dots. And that made me to come up with perception issues that surrounds farming, growing of crops, cultivation, and all of that. Then I looked at agriculture and food systems. And I saw, of course, they hinge on four major aspects, which are production, processing, distribution, and consumption. So every aspect of, food and agricultural systems, food security issues, and then, of course, agriculture being a primary sector, being a real sector, being a traditional sector, of which every sector depends on. So definitely, that type of foundational sector or space has to, young people, they have to understand that. So that's why everyone is rooting for agriculture. So you are rooting well because you have to eat first to be alive before you can start, even now in the face of climate change issues, we are now rooting for clean and renewable energy solutions, which are also from agriculture, interestingly. So energy is very important. Now, talking about ideation and entrepreneurship, which is lacking in Africa's agriculture sector, creativity, innovation. Now, also going to technology integration, amalgamation of technology solutions, looking at how, different aspects of technology, even in the face of fourth industrial revolution, when we have IoTs, we have blockchain, we have internet, drones, agricultural drones, and all of that. Yeah, so it's another talk for another day. You know them. And then I had talked about sustainability and circular economy, and then public policy, social policy in equity. Dr. Corey gave me that perspective. Dr. Corey is a friend that is quite very interesting, really. Yeah, we met at a very strategic time of this because he's working with cannabis. And I told Ambassador Davisha to come, so she will also talk about the cannabis issue, Indian hemp, and how we are trying to encourage Africa governments to embrace cannabis, not from the negative side, but from the aspect of economic value that it stands to bring. Because we have that cannabis oil helps a lot. It's diverse economic benefits, and Yason Tafari is also working on that in the Caribbean. And of course, then what else do I talk about now? In the face of global pandemics, can I introduce the brain engineering idea, not just for agriculture? It's actually a strategy for mitigating the issues that the SDG goals agenda of the UN stands to, manage or handle. Yeah, so we are doing a draft. We've done a lot of draft for early career academics. We are doing a draft for conflict transformation and disaster management. And I had proposed an idea to my respectable colleague, Professor Dr. Goodron, who is a mathematician. And I know after this event, we will have to, do something on doing something for a mathematical formula for the brain engineering idea, and then taking it to the next level and looking at issues on healthcare management, because we are, I was in an event where we were called agri leaders in that event in Manchester recently, and the lady that came to coach us is a psychologist, and she was telling us about the impending mental pandemic, which is going to shake the world. Is it mental pandemic, or what do they call it again? Mental issues. So now, so we need to root for the easier way. So thank you, Dr. Corey. Sorry for taking your time, but I had to say this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ikechi. One thing that I wanted to share, and what brain reengineering means to me in the field of agriculture, is that brain reengineering represents the evolution of agriculture and how we think about agriculture. Because generally, when you look at agriculture, what it means to me, it represents three things. It represents food, it represents clothing, and it represents shelter. And those three things contribute to the overall well-being of an individual, health and well-being of that person. And so one thing that is not attractive to this generation, you have to meet people where they are. And this particular generation and the generations that come after them, they're very heavy on the use of technology, which many of us can remember a time before the internet, before email, before you could Google information on the computer. You had to look it up in an encyclopedia or look it up in a dictionary. So we have information at our fingertips, and yet from time to time, we still employ the old ways of doing things when it comes to agriculture. So I think that one thing that brain reengineering represents is a way to utilize technology and utilize other facets of what we have today in society to be able to enhance the old way of how we're used to doing things, to get people from the younger generation involved, because the problems are still going to be the same. You're still going to have a problem with food insecurity within the world. Some countries more so than others, but that's still going to be an issue. You're still going to have a problem with clothing. You're still going to have a problem with people not having adequate shelter. So the problems are going to remain the same from now until eternity. I think what has to change is the way that we tackle those issues so that those issues are no longer there or no longer a problem. And I think through the use of technology and through the brain re-engineering paradigm, I think that is the best way to attack the problem. And then as time goes on and as technology improves, those problems will be solved in a way that will be consistent with how the next generation solves problems. So we can't continue to solve problems in the 21st century how we solve them in the 18th and 19th century and 20th century. We have to have new ways to solve those problems. And to me, that's where brain re-engineering comes in to improve the way that we do agriculture.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Corey. You see, Dr. Corey is a professor. He's at the Tennessee State University. Thank you. I have seen one of my nieces. You know, I have relatives here. One of my nieces, she graduated recently from biomedical sciences. I can see her join. I don't know if she wants to say something. Her name is Blossom. And Honorable Blessing is also my niece. Yeah, I don't know if they want to say something, but can I invite Godson as well? I've seen Godson and I saw, David had spoken. David is doing quite, a lot of work with me. He's very good with conceptualizing, and we will talk about it later. Godson as well is here in the UK. Dr. Godson, can you say something? Just 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone from here in the city of Peterborough in the UK. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, it's my great pleasure being here this evening to actually join everyone around the world to celebrate a good friend of mine. He's been a very great individual since we met probably about 5-6 years ago. And we've been having a couple of engagements over the years, and following what he's been doing. I've been reading a lot about his articles, his work, and sometimes I imagine how he created time to think about all those imaginary solutions in a high-tech conceptualizations of it. So I really want to appreciate my friend Dr. Ikechi. It's been a great pleasure knowing you, getting involved with what you're doing, and also you getting involved with what I do. Has been to my couple of my events, spoke at one of my events in Birmingham, and it was highly appreciated. And brain re-engineering, I really want to say it's a great thing, and I hope that it will turn around what some of us in our own thinking are hoping will be the next revolution in the African context. In as much as I want to celebrate your 10-year anniversary in the job you're doing, in your academic pursuit, and your conceptualized idea that you're trying to push across the world, and your happy birthday also. I wish I'd buy this idea from you. Next month is my birthday, so I'll try to do something like this too, and get some people around to share ideas with me. One thing I have been trying to, looking at what Dr. Ikechi is doing about re-engineering, and one aspect of that which I think I need to add to it with regards to agricultural revolution, in which is part of the theme of the event we're holding this year in the UK. We're having an event that is focusing on agribusiness and agri-tech. How do we get this to change the perception of agri-export and food safety, food security, and eradication of poverty within Africa? And one aspect of that area we're trying to look into, which I hope Ikechi will be looking at as one of the people that will be speaking at this event, and some of you here who may be joining, is how to use technology to re-engineer the mind of Africans. We're trying to get Africans in the diaspora, because I have one idea that is trying to change my perception of using color to differentiate our identity in the diaspora. I hate when people say you are a Black American or Black UK or wherever. And so I tend to focus more on trying to identify every person that has the connection to Africa as an African. So if I come to talk to you, I want to refer to you as an African American. I want to refer to you as an African Britain. I want to refer to you as an African in Europe. I don't want to use the word Black as much as people tend to use it, but it's not really good for our common social identity. When you talk about race is about the originality of every individual person. I'm a Nigerian, you're a Ghanaian, you're a Jamaican. Somebody should be able to say you are an American Jamaican. Somebody should say I'm a Nigerian UK or Nigerian British, rather to say I'm a Black UK or I'm a Black American. It's an identity I try to differ much from. And so in terms of the technology aspect in which I want the brain re-engineering to look at is the World Bank, I think it's Western Union, said that Africans in the diaspora remit over $100 and something billion annually to their various African countries. But if you do a good close analysis of these funds, you realize that nobody can actually pick out what those funds does in return for those Africans in the diaspora, neither much for those Africans in Africa. And so we're trying to say, and Western Union went further to say that at least each and every African working in the diaspora spends about 22% of their annual income as part of the remittance they send home. And so, and we came up with this idea that we call Africa for Africa, or Africa by Africans. There are huge number of Africans in the diaspora who could link up to this new brain engineering of using agriculture as a great revolution to place Africa in the global map. Everything that the world used to survive today, from food to technology to human nature, human resources, comes from Africa. And so why don't we begin to use technology to re-engineer the minds of our Africans across the globe to become the actual real investors into Africa, be the real actual economic developer of Africa, in order to ensure that we begin to use our resources to develop ourselves and make ourselves a global identity that will be highly reckoned with around the world. Thank you very much. I bless you all. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
The brothers that have spoken, you just touched me in a very particular way. This is really powerful, and of course, I know anytime we gather together like this among Africans in the diaspora, great idea always come. I always hope that one day we'll be able to bring most of this idea to fruition, because it is important. It is important that we go beyond the idea. It's really fantastic and it's great. Thank you so much for what you are doing. And of course, we're going to have time to be able to talk more about that after this conversation. You see, when you were talking just now, making mention of why is color being used to identify us, I just want to share that I have already realized a documentary on this project. This is our website. With this documentary, I won an award at the African Film Festival of Verona. It just to say that I really find the conversation to be highly, highly important for me. Because at the time, of course, in the documentary, I interviewed a lot of people asking the question, why do you use color to identify me? Whereas color cannot even explain my identity, it cannot explain where I'm coming from, it cannot explain my religion, it cannot explain my culture. Color only talk about how you think I am. Then I even went as far as say, okay, let's even talk about the color black. Black, our skin color is not even black. So the only way we can ever use black to identify us is if we want to denigrate us. It means that we are basically saying we are nothing. That is what it means when we say black Africans. Because see, among the African people, we don't use color to identify who we are. We use culture to identify where you are coming from. You say you are Igbo. Igbo is not a color. Igbo is a people. You say you are coming from the Ibibio. Ibibio is not a color. I'm talking of just Nigeria now. We can go as far as West Africa, East Africa, North Africa. There is nowhere in Africa culture where we use how you appear to describe who you are. When we use color to identify ourselves, it is not even how the Europeans generally see us as a people, but there is a way a certain class of Europeans think we are. But it doesn't end there. They think that is the way it is because there is an ulterior motive behind that. I'm not going to steal the conversation, but I want us to know that each time somebody identifies you as a color, think about it again and remember, place that your identity as a black person against Black Friday, against Black Day, against Black Dog, against black, anything that is black in Western consciousness. Then you will understand if that is actually what they mean by referring to you as black. This is an argument that we need to have. We need time for it. We need time to talk about it. It's not something to just flash. We need time for it. So thank you so much for just talking about that. Ikechi?
I hope Dr. Ikechi will develop an hashtag Africa by Africans. In his program, will be good.
Yes. In fact, thank you very much. Yeah, in fact, I'm working out something on that. There's this strategy that we've, or rather an initiative under the African Diaspora Collective, which is North and South America. They created an MOU with one of the universities, which of course I am here to propose that to Dr. Tachi and Adi, my cousins, because I know they will add a lot of value to that, because that university is cited where they are from. Yeah, that's from their father's place. Yeah, so and it's a very good initiative which will sail. Can I welcome Chimemezie, Adi's husband, my cousin's husband, all the way from Malaysia.
Hi, Ikechi, how are you doing? Yeah. Hi, Ikechi, how you doing? And hi, everyone. Just want to say congratulations on your achievements. We love you. And we also, it's late here actually. My wife woke me up and told me about what's going on, and I just joined in. So just saying congratulations from Malaysia. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for finding time. I don't know if Dr. Tachi is ready to say something again, because I know She's quite popular in the US with her programs in the media, and people all over the world join that program. And this would have been an opportunity to also, do something in that line. So I don't know. I don't know if Blessing, are you available? I don't know if any other one person wants to say something. Yeah, Queen Age said because black is magic, black is root for everything, essential melanin. We have developed historical facts and sensitive topics of Africa. So I wanted to say that we are doing really a lot, and you may wonder how I do those things. I am not jack of all trades, and I am not master of none either. But what I do is that I find people who are also passionate in that area, and I do more like a coordinating, I play more roles like in the coordinating aspect. So that's how I work. And at the end, I know how to put 1 and 2 together at the end. And that's how we were able to develop 3 book chapters on brain reengineering, which in fact, we wanted to do even up to 10. But with time, since we already have you now, and we will take that idea to the next level, and so that we can even earn money with our our businesses. We can customize it to what we do, because when you look at the system of the world works from perception change. A lot of people have, they work with their feelings, they work with what their mind is telling them, and their mind may not be in the right sense. So what is the correct mind? What is the standard mind? What is the ideal mind? Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. I don't know, Dr. Tachi, are you ready to say something?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry, I got a phone call. What was the topic you wanted me to speak about?
We wanted you to on your camera, if you are able to, and tell us about your work and what we are trying to do. How we can actually translate the brain engineering idea using a media. The media. Can you see my beautiful cousin? Celebrate her, please.
Okay, so hello everyone. So what I do a number of things. I'm a media person. I'm a media professor, but primarily I'm a media practitioner. So I have a live stream show that I've had for the past, we're going into 9 years, where I talk all about media, tech, and pop culture news, the latest in media, tech, and pop culture news. And I'm also in the process of starting a network that would aggregate individuals together. We have about 30 creators that are going to make shows on various topics, and we work better together. So it just makes sense to kind of aggregate together and have a whole slew of content that people can watch. And in terms of because I was listening as I was on the phone call, and part of the thing is that obviously it's going to take younger people, next generation, we're talking like Gen Alpha, definitely, to carry on the torch of agriculture. But let's be clear, they are trying to be content creators. They're trying to be TikTokers. They're trying to be YouTubers. They're trying to do all of these things. And not everybody, but many people are. So there has to be an aspect of, besides just this, how else can I achieve and make money? Okay, how else can I monetize? So what I've been noticing is there are an awful lot of content creators who may be farmers, who may be in agriculture, maybe not on a wide scale, but even if it comes to community gardening and things like this, talking about the US, and they are creating content. So I think that part of whatever is taught in education and higher ed or wherever, because we, as someone mentioned, as Yasun Tafari mentioned, it needs to start early. Well, you also need to show how that's tied to other things. Media is involved in everything. And so, okay, that's fine. You want to be a content creator, you can, but you can still also be involved in agriculture. You can still also be involved in gardening. You can make content and you can monetize that content. You can have swag for that content, and you can still do the agriculture thing, right? Because I think the concern is nobody wants to be a poor, quote, poor farmer, and that's just being real. But if you show ways of how you can tie in other things, like the arts, of course, science is already tied to it, but younger people from me teaching, they all want to be content creators. And so why not create avenues for them to do that, but show them? And so all these programs need to have in them content creation for agriculture, those types of things, so that they can see how it's tied and how they can monetize. And the monetization doesn't have to just come from the farming part of it or the agriculture part of it. It can come from being a content creator. So that's what I.
Chukwuka is my secondary school boy. He's my junior in secondary school. And he put on his camera now. He has put it off because he's playing with his son. He's in New Jersey. And who else? Yeah, I've talked about Augustine. Then Dr. Corey. Dr. Corey, thank you so much. He has a lot of value to bring, which he has been doing. He's also one of the scientific committee members of the International Conference on Business Models in Agriculture. And yes, so who else now? So Dr. Corey, you've seen my cousins who are Americans. I told you about them. And also Yason Tafari is very energetic, passionate young man who is in California now. And I love what he's doing. And I told him that I already have people like Dr. Randall Esnad in St. Lucia. So we are trying to see how we can take what we are doing from, here to, and also stir up something there and see how we can drive that transformation, not from the angle of let's do everything so that we will be seen. No, we want to see that things are correct. And I actually want to learn more. I was telling us about agri-leadership. We are trying to go into more areas of leadership and all of that. So I really want to thank everyone who came here tonight, both the ones that have dropped, the ones that are still here, and even finally the Reverend Eliakim. Reverend Eliakim has been awesome. And even Queen Eji, all the way from Paris. Thank you so much for joining. And even yourself, Obey Ewanfu, from Italy, Verona. Thank you so much for joining. And Adi, see Adi from Malaysia. So you can see time zones. They are already in the morning. So they are already in Tuesday morning. Thank you so much. Beautiful cousins and beautiful people in the house. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. And I want to implore us to be good people wherever we are. No matter what you do, no matter what people have done to you, learn to forgive. Forgive from your heart, love, and let your light shine. Become a salt all the time. It pays. And even health-wise, you will become, you will grow older. Like my father lived up to 100 years. He taught us how to forgive. Sometimes it was very difficult for him, but we saw him, budge. So try to budge. Those people who may have hurt you, still try to encourage them. And let's make our world a better place. And let's root for agriculture, root for farming. You may not study agriculture, but try to practice agriculture. It will help a lot. And I encourage people to eat a lot of vegetables and foods, good nutrition, and check your BPs and all of those things. Eat less of junk, please, especially as we advance in age. Eat more of fruits and vegetables. From my well of knowledge
I'm sorry
and research.
I'm sorry to cut you there. You know, I'm a cook.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a cook. That's why I'm more interested in the agriculture. I'm a farmer too. You know me that. But I'm more interested in the especially the eat healthy part. You know how old I am? Yeah. I don't want to say yeah. But
you don't. If you want.
I told you what.
I've forgotten.
Okay, I'm 50 years old.
You are too young.
And
to hide your age.
I'm trying. I'm a grandfather, so I'm still trying to leave. Yeah, I'm still trying to leave. I mean, I'm trying to get to that old age you're talking about. So yeah, he's right. And one other thing, I'm also into pop culture, music, and soccer. Yeah. So I like what my sister was saying there, Dr. Tachi. You know, reaching out to young people, you got to be funky. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you have to make agriculture funky. Yeah, you have to make agriculture funky for them. You have to put some flair into it. You have to also make it techy, you know, where you could just look at your mobile phone and know if your corn is ready to harvest, not having to walk into the bush, you know, every time to see. You know what I mean? So I'm talking of applying AI, also fun, also the collective idea. Everything it's so brilliant. My brain is just going boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? I'm going to be talking to my brother, and I'm going to be saying we should key into this. Can you guys hear me? Because my camera seems.
We can.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking to my brother, and I'm going to be telling him about all this because one of the things he told me when we start talking again was, "Man, come and take everything you need." And then we have a beautiful place up in Osasa land. Yes. It's my adopted home. I mean, I'm from Ubiaja. It's Amekin, you know?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. My United Nations assignment in Ubiaja. And Obey is from Uromi.
From Uromi. Uromi and Ubiaja, we are close neighbor there. Yeah. So I want to thank all of you again for the time and the participation in this important event. It has really been very great on our end. We in AClasses, we love this man. We love what he's doing. This is why we decided to set up this date to honor him, to celebrate him. There is a project that we have. Let me see if I can sort of cue it out. It's called Life and Legacy. This is one of the projects that we have in our company, where we basically interview different people because we are trying to learn more from where we are coming from our history. Because history and storytelling help us to understand our place in the world. It is not just about cock and bull. I think I did make mention of that before. History helps us to know where we are coming from, who we are, and where do we go from there. That is an example I usually give in my podcast and also in our storytelling series, that if the day the chicken is harsh and the day the eagle is harsh, you put them together and trade them as chicken, the eagle will never fly. It will behave like a chicken because the eagle do not know that it's an eagle. So if you do not know where your ancestors are coming from, if you are told that you are an animal, you will behave like an animal. That is what education does to us. But if you know where your ancestors are coming from, if you know what they have done, then you will make an attempt to do the same. So this is what education does for. That is why we are taking the time to learn from those who have been before us. It is important for us. That is why we're also celebrating this great individual today, Dr. Ikechi. Because now we're not doing it just for him. Now I want to share something important there. That a couple of months ago, I did a biography about my elder brother. Then I was saying, I'm not doing this only for my elder brother. No, I'm doing it for children that are going to be here many, many years from now who are going to ask about this person. So when we do this, we help other people to do something like the person that we are celebrating. And in this case, looking at Dr. Ikechi. We want many Dr. Ikechi to grow up in our community so that they can say, it is a good thing. It is a good thing to be like Dr. Ikechi. That is the idea. It's not because we want to do this to please him. He's already what it is. He's continuing to do this. But as a community, we need to celebrate individuals that are worthy of celebration. This is why we are doing this today. But we are doing this for the whole of the community because all of us are together. So I really appreciate all of you from the depth of my heart. Thank you so much for coming and continue to support him so that he will do more, so that we have more of his story to tell. I appreciate all of you. My name is Obehi Ewanfo. I am a storyteller. I am the author of the Storytelling Mastery. Of course, you can find all of my books on our website. In fact, there is a series we even started not too long ago. We basically take the masters in the field and we write stories about them so that people can learn, because we believe that if you know about story, you can find your way in the world. This is many things that story help us to do. Story is what helps us to move mountain. Because if we know, if we can create it and we can believe it, then it can be anything at all that we want to be. We are the creator if we can believe it. The hardest thing for us as a people is to believe that it is possible for us. So we need to continue to encourage ourselves because we can do it. But not do it as a person. As a person, you can never do it. But as a people, there is nothing we cannot do.
No,